that I wasn't fully prepared for was sort of the desperation of the coworkers that were also in the orientation class with me that were being hired on in the run-up to the holidays. Many, people had spent years bouncing around from one warehouse job to the next as temps, always hoping that this would be the job that would turn into a sort of direct hire permanent position, and not having that happen yet. And it's the way the work is structured, it makes it very hard to sort of go about and live a normal life. I was hired for a 7 a.m. shift. Sometimes the shift started at 8 a.m. Sometimes they'd start at 4 a.m. Some shifts would be 4 hours, 8 hours, 12 hours. You don't really know what you're getting into. And so it makes it, besides the fact that the pay is low, we made $9 an hour, and there's no benefits, it's just very hard if you're doing something like trying to raise a family or pick kids up from school or have any sort of other life outside of your work. It's hard to make that happen. Yeah, I mean, you have very little leverage as a temp, and when they say jump, you say how high. You show up whenever they need you. Work Saturday, Sunday. Sometimes expect work and not find it.
Gabriel, whenever I hear stories like these, whether from you or from individuals for whom this is their livelihood, it reminds me so much of the Grapes of Wrath. You speak of individuals huddling together, trying to figure out, like, we've heard about this place a few miles away that pays $3 an hour more. We've heard about another place, but frequently they travel there and it's just a myth. It's not any better. There is no holy grail of temporary employment frequently.
No, and it's interesting to bring up the Grapes of Wrath too, because one of the similarities, I think David mentioned this earlier, I think of between farm work and sort of these fulfillment warehouses is that it's so hard for the consumer to make the connection, to understand the backstory of how the product got to them. And so the same way that you go into a produce aisle and you pick up a head of lettuce or whatever, and you're not making the connection of how that got there, the work that made it there. In the same way, you get a box arrives, new books that you've been waiting for on your doorstep, and you tear open the box, and you're happy you have the box, and you have the new product. And the difficulty of making the connection of what were the working conditions like that got that product to you. There's clearly people needed those jobs. Like I said, in the area that I was in, unemployment was over 10%. All these construction jobs had gone away. So people are quite desperate for work, and doing a temp job at a warehouse where it was, you never knew what your hours would be and the pay was low, beat nothing. But I think in the long run, that's very hard to, if you're satisfied with those kind of jobs being created in the new economy and think that's going to somehow get these thousands of workers that are doing that work to a better place, I think you're just wrong, and I think that there are certain things that could be very easily fixed. I mean, there's one thing about needing to hire a lot of people for the holiday run-up, and so obviously those positions, not all those people are going to be full-time. But in many of these warehouses, using temps is just a way to save money. They've got temps that have been working in warehouses for a year, 2 years, 3 years, alongside full-time workers doing the same jobs. And so I think something like those kind of practices definitely really undercut the workers that are sort of putting it out there every day.